as to bond?
Your Honor, we are just looking to address the condition of bond that requires that Mr. Hopkins be on house arrest. Prior to this matter, Mr. Hopkins was employed as a result of having the tether police. No longer able to, in this case, he was no longer able to maintain that employment. He is hoping to be able to get new employment and is asking that the court consider a no go-to order, a no contact order, or anything of that nature. My client, Mr. Hopkins, also recently registered for the cybersecurity program. Text me that information. I tried to send the confirmation to Ms. Barroso so that she would be able to see it. It's my understanding that the classes are majority online, but that would be the only place that he would have to come across Washtenaw County. Otherwise, he's just asking for some order that would allow him to work and just not have that kind of contact.
Response.
Your Honor, the bond in this case was set at $5,000 cash or surety when we requested a $50,000 bond. In this case, the people are uncomfortable with him being out. This was an event or a series of events that occurred where the defendant assaulted the victim at not one but two locations. An eyewitness saw the defendant shove the victim while near the police station. The police attempted to make contact with the defendant, and then he picked up, as a result of him resisting, picked up 5 counts of R&O against 4 different officers. One of those 5 counts is an R&O causing injury that was so severe that the officer is actually seeking specialized medical treatment from an orthopedic surgeon. At this point, this is a 9.
So hold on. There was a DV and then an officer injured. Why is he out?
Your Honor, if I could address.
Hold on. I'll let Ms. Barroso finish and then you can address it. I just had an intermediate question. Go ahead.
So at this point, I don't think that a modification of bond removing him from being on house arrest is appropriate. We objected to a nominal bond of $5,000 when it was originally granted. At this point, I don't think that any further reduction is appropriate.
A couple of things. First of all, Mr. Hopkins is here with his father. He is 20 years old. He has no prior criminal history. In reviewing the police report and the video, even the report references that the altercation, that the incidents that resulted in this charge, that there were,
In which
that it was,
charge?
I'll start with the domestic violence. That with those charges, that there was a more complicated situation. I believe the officer said, the report says something to the effect of, and this would also go to the property, that there had been physical altercations between the two of them, fighting between the two of them, and breaking of objects between the two of them. So I believe that there's more to this than said. The allegations of the domestic violence are the one of the shoving, and also I believe Mr. Hopkins taking his own computer back from the complainant. That's the second allegation of the domestic violence. And the resisting and obstructing is, the allegations are that Mr. Hopkins, not that Mr. Hopkins turned around and slammed someone or punched them or anything, that he pulled away. The allegation is the officer fell and that caused the injury. And then that officer fell, yes, as he pulled away. And then subsequently, 4 officers who were, some of whom just pulled up on the scene in the video, all ran after him. And that's where the resisting and obstructing comes. And he did, in fact, eventually stop. It was not, it's not as if he were in a vehicle and went miles or hours away. He did stop running, and he did, once they complied, once that occurred, there were no further incidents. So,
Your Honor, I'm sorry, that is not the characterization of the RNO. The allegations include him punching two officers in the face, breaking free of their grasp, causing them to fall to the ground, twisting and seriously injuring an officer's finger. And then it went on for such a period of time that an officer had to point and deploy a taser.
Your Honor,
And that another officer had to point their pistol at a defendant. So at the defendant. So at this point, I don't think it was him passively.
Your Honor, I had an opportunity to view the video.
Well, you had an opportunity to view the video.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor, when
I think that's either yes or no. Was a taser deployed?
Your Honor, as soon as the officer saw him, she
Mr.
pointed
Allen.
the taser at him. This is not, as soon as she saw him, she pointed the taser at him. This is not a situation where he was running and pointed the taser.
I didn't ask that, Ms. Gaines. I did not ask that.
Yes, sir.
Was the taser deployed?
Yes, it was.
Did an officer have to draw their weapon?
I did not see that. I could not see that on the video.
Ms. Burrows, are you indicating an officer had to draw their weapon?
That is what was indicated to me in the file, Your Honor. Yes.
And then there's an officer that's injured. Again, we'll ask the question. I don't know why this individual's out.
Again, Your Honor, he's 20 years old. He has no prior history, and he has no reason to come back to Washtenaw County other than for school in this case. It's my understanding. I have not heard any information that he has had any contact with the complainant, has violated any orders. He is just asking to be able to go to work and to be able to get a job and go to work. Your Honor, would you want to hear from Mr. Hopkins' father, who's present?
I don't know what he could tell me at this point in time. I'm more worried about the bond as it originally is set. I don't. Does he have prior convictions for anything?
No, Your Honor.
That the original domestic was about. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, because I'll just tell you, I have some serious concerns that this escalated to a point that officers are having to deploy a taser, pull their weapon, and there are clearly enough officers around to, in my opinion, have subdued this individual without having to do all of that. So something else is going on. And
Your Honor,
I also have, I mean, one's bad enough, but I have 2 counts of domestic violence.
again, Your Honor, one of them is him taking back his own computer. That's one of the allegations. And that's why I'm saying there were things that were happening before this. That's not to excuse his behavior. That is to say that there's broader context. And in my view of the video, initially there was 1 officer, then there were 2, and he ran from 2, but as he's running from those 2, there are cars, 4 and 5 cars are pulling up with sirens on an unarmed young man who clearly panicked. This is not someone who's had police involvement, who has a history of contact with law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Again, I'm not excusing, but I do think that there is there's more. I think there are more nuances to this than the prosecutor does.
Well, explain some of those then. Because I've got a victim of a DV that's injured.
She is not, the domestic violence person is not injured. It was the shove and the taking of there's no injury to her.
Domestic violence are 2 misdemeanor counts.
That is
felonies
correct.
here are 5 counts of are 5 counts.
Yeah, I see that.
Are no causing it.
Maybe I misread that on the report, but
Yes.
the injury to the finger that's the officer.
That's correct.
Thank you. I don't understand this. I mean, there's a lot I don't understand. How, and I get there are resisting and obstructings that are filed that some may look at as questionable in terms of the charge. I get that. But I'm also trying to figure out how an officer gets injured, that there are punches to the face of officers. I mean, Ms. Gaines, I don't get it.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying I did not see any punches to the face when I observed the video.
Well, tell you what, I'm certainly not changing any conditions. Can you explain to me one reason why I shouldn't raise his bond?
Your Honor, he has appeared for every court date, and he has not picked up any new charges. He has not had any contact with the complainant on the domestic violence or any of the officers. My understanding from him is that he has only come to Washtenaw County for court. He does not even reside in this county. It does not appear he's a flight risk, nor that he is a danger to the community. He is here with his father. He has come to every court date, and he's highly responsive to my calls and texts. And absent the no offer in this matter, we'd be looking to resolve it.
Anything else from the people?
No, Your Honor.
You know what? I'm not changing his condition in the bond. I'm not at this juncture going to up his bond either, although of rights I should. Of rights, I don't think he should be out around tethered or not, given that behavior. But I'll let Judge Perry deal with that after she hears the preliminary examination. Bond will continue. Motion for bond reduction or changing condition is denied.
Thank you.